Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Sian. I'm in my autumnal colours today. I'm feeling very like autumn is in the air. So I wanted to share with you my top 5 shows to watch on Netflix at the moment that are totally binge worthy. I speak from experience. So I'm going to dive straight in with the first one, which is Working Moms. This is a Canadian show and it is absolutely brilliant. I think the first season came out last year, second season came out this year, and then they've dropped the third season almost straight after the second, and the third one is longer, which is brilliant. It is absolutely hilarious. So it follows a group of mums who go from kind of having their babies and being together at baby groups and things like that to going back into work, you know, splitting up with partners, all the kind of life stuff that goes on. These women are completely flawed, as we all are. They are normal people. It is so funny. It's quite rude in parts, but it's really worth watching. It's made me absolutely laugh out loud. You get really invested in the characters and their friendships and how they're kind of growing together or splitting apart, and I think that's what makes it, is that there's not one kind of main character. There are 4 main characters and the shows centre around all of them pretty much equally, which is kind of really nice, and you end up really rooting for them, wanting them to succeed and laughing like a hyena when they don't succeed, because sometimes things go spectacularly wrong, which, let's be honest, sometimes things do go spectacularly wrong in life, especially when you've got children and you're juggling everything and you can't kind of make all the things stay in the air all the time. And this show is for any mum who feels like they might not fit in, because in this situation you would totally fit in with all of them. It's definitely worth watching. The first series I utterly binged. When the second one landed on Netflix, I think I watched it in 2 days. The third one I've been keeping going, but I think I've got 2 more to go and I'm going to watch those this afternoon. I really would highly recommend it. It's just fun. It also covers, whilst being fun, it does also cover some seriously kind of grown up and worthwhile topics to discuss. We've got drugs, gun culture, feminism, all kinds of things, but it is really well worth watching. Okay, number 2, the second one, my sister recommended this to me. I hadn't seen it before, but it was a Channel 4 series, and that is Derry Girls. So Derry Girls is set in Northern Ireland, in Derry, in the Troubles during the 1980s, 90s, and it follows a group of teenage girls and one boy who is an honorary girl, and just their lives. It is absolutely hilarious. If you're a child who grew up in the 90s, then this show is spot on for you in terms of all the reference points, all the music. The music is amazing. Like, I could genuinely just watch it for the music. The families are dysfunctional in the best possible way, and all at the same time you've got all of the kind of troubles going on, the underlying political tension, and that's really woven into the series incredibly well. The first series is on Netflix, and if you have all 4, then the second series is on there. That's a top tip because I found that out the other day. Again, it's totally binge worthy. It's something I finished really quickly. There are only 6 episodes in the series, so you can really go through it very quickly because they're quite short. I think about 23 minutes, something like that. So it's really easy to just watch. Well, pretty much in one night you could watch all of them. But I really recommend it. Again, it's something, for me, it's because of my age, and I was a teenager in that era, and it exactly is, you know, like their Take That episode is just amazing. And all the kind of clothes they're wearing, the fashion is exactly the kind of clothes that I used to wear. So I really enjoyed it from that kind of nostalgic view, I guess. Number 3 is Good Girls. I don't know if you've seen this before. The first series came out last year, I think, and the second series dropped this year. Good Girls is about 3 mums who are just getting on with their normal life and then end up needing money really badly and being kind of drawn into this crime ring. It's a very dark comedy, but it is a comedy. It's funny, but it's also scary, and it's how these 3 women are kind of managing to live their lives with the threat of being arrested at any point, but also with gang members who could kill them at any point. It's their fight against misogyny, sexism. It's them standing up to people and saying, do you know what, I'm not just a mum, I can do something else too. Admittedly, they're doing it in quite an extreme way, but they are kind of saying, hang on, I can do this, bring it on. I really love them for that, and I really love the series. It's one where you become totally invested in their characters. You can see they're flawed, you can see that they're making the wrong decisions, but at the same time, they're kind of doing good by their family, and I'm not saying that's okay, but it is really good to watch. And that's, again, another one that I have totally binged. Just realised all the ones I've recommended so far and the next one are all really strong female leads, which is great, really, isn't it? To say that what I'm really enjoying watching is a group of kick-ass women who are just bossing it on the TV. Leading on from that, the fourth one that I recommend is Glow, which I only realised this series stands for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And in the first series, which was last year, you saw all the women wrestlers kind of brought together for this wrestling show, and it was all a bit kind of, is it gonna work, isn't it gonna work? And then somehow they got a show in Vegas. Hopefully I haven't just spoiled the whole first series. Second series sees them in Vegas and doing their show, and you've got all the sights and scenes of Vegas, you've got all the bling of the machines, and you've got all of their relationships, and again, these kind of big group of women sort of push together and how they interact together, how they have to fight against the patriarchy, how in that time it was so rare to have women producers and women who actually wanted to stand up and say, no, hang on, it would be better to do it like this. And that just didn't happen as much in, I think, pretty sure it's set in the 80s, and it's really refreshing to see that kind of change happening throughout the series. Again, it's quite a dark, humoured series, and again, there are so many main characters that you really kind of fall in love with all these different people, and you want to see each different part of the story. The second series was every bit as enjoyable as the first series, and again, it was a series that we totally binged on, and I regret binging because now it's gone. And the final one I'm going to recommend is an absolute all-time favourite of mine, and that is Orange is the New Black. I think it is such a clever TV show, and I was desperate for the last in the series. And I was also, I didn't want to watch it because then I knew that as soon as I watched it, it would be over and I wouldn't ever be able to watch it for the first time again. Do you ever get that with a book or something where you're like, oh, I don't want to read this because once I read it, I can't ever read it for the first time again. I felt exactly the same with Orange is the New Black, the final series. It was a very different series from all of the ones before. Obviously, you're still following, again, a very large group of women and kind of how they're fitting into the world as they're being released, and you still seeing into their family stories. This series has the addition of ICE and people being deported and things that are happening in America right now, and the conditions that the women are being kept in, the fact that they're split up from their children, and all of that was actually really heartbreaking. I did spend more than one episode in floods of tears because I was so upset with what was going on. Genuinely, I don't normally cry at the telly, but yeah, with some of these I just couldn't help it. I feel like this series had far more of a political point to make, and there's nothing wrong with that because you obviously still see all of the characters and you're seeing kind of a final line under what's happening in their lives and where they're going and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely was a lot more political than previous series. Having said that, it's absolutely fantastic. It's definitely worth watching. I tried not to binge this one because, as I said, I really didn't want it to be over. But we ended up watching the last episode without realising it was the last episode, and then halfway through both kind of looked at each other and were like, is this the last one? Oh no! I felt like we should have kind of celebrated it more. We should have marked the occasion properly. Anyway, I would definitely recommend watching it, and again, it's one of those I'm absolutely gutted that it's over. There are some that I've left out of this one, like The Good Place, which is amazing, go watch it. Queer Eye, amazing, go watch it. Loads and loads of things that I do watch on Netflix regularly. Jane the Virgin, absolutely amazing. I didn't know that I was going to get quite as invested in that as I did, but once I started watching, I could not stop. The only thing I would say definitely don't watch is something called What and If. Don't watch that. I regret wasting the hours that I spent watching that. You might enjoy it, very strange. Got Renee Zellweger in it, which is why I watched it. Definitely wasn't worth watching. So those are my recommendations. Go watch them. If you enjoy them, let me know. And if you've got any recommendations for things that I should be watching, let me know. And I'll see you again soon. All right, bye.